Previously on Newswire L.A., the CHiPs 35-year cast reunion coming to you from the Airport Hilton in Los Angeles, California.
Oh, it's been amazing. I've been a fan for 35 years. I was 7 when the show started. I grew up with these guys. It's like meeting old friends again. And the fans are just so excited. It's like a dream. It's like their bucket list for them. They just love it.
And it was an incredible opportunity to be on a television show which espoused solving problems with your head and your heart and not with guns and violence.
All right, we have it at $600, right? $600.
Walk it up to
Take a look.
And yet to come back after all these years and see these cast members, you know, who have gone through all different things in their lives, it's an exciting time.
Last time we took you inside of the CHiPs 35-year cast reunion and showed you a day of fun and fan interaction. What we didn't get a chance to do was to speak to everyone who appeared on that stage. Well, tonight we make good on our promise and bring you interviews with the cast members in attendance today. All of this and more on Newswire L.A. coming up right after this. After a long but satisfying day of reminiscing about everything CHiPs, participating in Q&As, moderating auctions and raffles, the cast have retired to the adjoining autograph room. Here they'll sign an array of items such as photographs, event cards, and personal pieces of memorabilia brought by the fans themselves. What makes these autograph sessions so popular is the simple fact that the fans can get up close and personal with their favorite actors. After all, these people played the characters that they have come to know and love. While the fans stayed in the main auditorium for a few more features, Newswire L.A. sneaked into the autograph room and got its own one-on-one with the cast, and we're happy to bring it to you right now. Please note that some of our conversations transcended the usual Hollywood chat and went into some personal areas of the cast members' lives. In particular, I want to point out our conversation with Paul Link and Bruce Penhall. Enjoy, everyone, and we'll see you right after. THAMMASAENGSRI, Newswire L.A. I am here with Lou Saunders of CHiPs. I've got you in the autograph room, so I got to be quick. These fans are going to come here really fast.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about what it's like seeing everybody from the show again.
It is an incredible blessing to have worked on the show in the first place. It's even more so a blessing to come here and see people that you haven't seen. Most of these people I haven't seen in those 35 years. To renew those acquaintances, to renew that camaraderie is exceptional, and I'll never forget this day as long as I live.
What have you been doing in the time since CHiPs?
Actually, I've written, I write poetry. I have a couple of books, well, one book that was published. I got another one that's coming out soon. I've also been producing some plays that I wrote, and I have a line of products based on an inscription that I wrote, which is one of the t-shirt that I'm wearing right now, and we're trying to bring God back to the Pledge of Allegiance, but if we can't do that, we have our own pledge.
Fantastic. Are you doing any acting work as of these days?
No, I recently moved to Georgia, and trying to find out what the scene is out there. But I really enjoy writing now. I really enjoy writing the scripts and writing the plays, writing the books. I still do voiceovers, so I'm very blessed to do that. But being in front of the camera, if it rolls back again, maybe I'll do it. But at the meantime, I'm really enjoying writing.
With those voiceovers, where can we hear you? What products?
Oh, they're all over the place, especially down in the Southeast. Done some for Aunt Jemima, S&W Vegetables, et cetera, et cetera. The thing people have to remember about voiceovers is that we change our voices for various products depending upon what they're looking for. And a good voiceover talent has range, and I'm second base all the way up to falsetto. So I can give you the full range, and when people are looking for this voice that they're hearing now, it's quite often something entirely different. Yep.
Wow. Well, do you see yourself doing any more of these reunion shows, getting back with these guys? What's the feeling?
I really hope that they do. I mean, there's been such a feeling of kinship after all these years between us that I really feel if an opportunity came up that we were able to do this, I think everybody would jump on it. I think that the pervasive thing that was all through this is that we realize this may be the last opportunity for all of us to see each other. We never know what God has intended for us. So to jump on this opportunity and embrace it, I think was paramount to each and every one of us.
You know, one of the more interesting things I was thinking about a little bit earlier, I think during the lunch hour, was that most of this cast, and I can't think of anybody, everybody is still alive. A lot of series you see, there are 2, 3, 4, 5 people who've passed on, but this cast is lucky enough to say everyone is still alive and well.
I was talking to that about my son is here today, my youngest son, he's 31, and I was telling him I feel so blessed because everybody's here, with the exception, of course, of Eric, but everybody's here, everybody looks great, they look healthy, and they look happy. And in Hollywood, that's a heck of a lot to say.
Yes, it is. Well, we'll let you get back to it. We won't take up too much time here.
Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
It's good to meet you. I remember you on the series, and wow.
So many years ago.
You know what, between you and I, it makes me know, and I don't mean this in a bad way, I was younger then.
Yes, yes. Weren't we all?
I was younger, thinner. I'm still looking for your fro. But it's not there. What does it mean to you guys to see that there's so much love for you guys here, even after 35 years?
It's really touching, isn't it, Michael?
Yeah, definitely.
It honestly is touching, and people they said such heartfelt, sincere things. It really was. I was very surprised. I mean, I appreciated the experience and felt very lucky to have been on the show and moved on with my life and everything. And some of the people were so sincere. I was, you can't help but be touched and really grateful.
And you flew in all the way across the pond.
You know what? And I had said something to Michael about this, but when Sue asked, sent out the email, I thought, oh, it'd be so, be difficult and this and that. And but then as the time got closer, and it rained and rained and rained in England, and I thought, Southern California.
If anything, she's practical.
Yes, and so we just, I thought, oh, it's good. We'll do a combination, spend a few days, see my sister, and do some stuff. And so I was thrilled and very honored to have been asked, actually.
Michael Dorn, you've been part of a couple of different franchises. You're best known as Lieutenant Commander Worf on Star Trek, of course, and I'm sure that one comes up all the time. Being that you're a part of that franchise, you go to a lot of conventions. What's the difference between those guys, the Trekkies, and the folks that are here today?
There really isn't a difference. I mean, depending on what convention you go to, there's, they'll have costume contests and things like that. But in terms of the individuals, it's pretty much the same. It's just people coming because they really enjoy the show. There's something that touched them and something that's special to them. They grew up with it. People come to this convention and to the Star Trek conventions whose parents made them watch the show. Sit down and watch this show with me because this is a great show. And so there's really not that difference. It's not a huge difference, except for the costumes.
We're here at the CHiPs convention today, and so are you. Paul Link, Grossman, and Bruce Penhall, world-famous racer, came in those later seasons. How do you guys feel about the love from the audiences after 35 years?
Well, I mean, it's so special to be with everyone, to get a chance to be with Bruce and Lou and Pine and Brody and Michael Dorn and Lou Saunders and I'm having and Larry, and of course our beloved Brianne Leary. You know, it's interesting. It's sort of like when you say 35 years. I should be looking at that, but I'm looking at you.
I'm just giving
You know, but when 35 years, you know, he was a kid. He's still a kid, but the impact of it, I wouldn't want to go to my 35th high school reunion. I would have no interest in that.
Yeah,
quite candidly, this is very special. It's an opportunity for us to reconnect, to touch, to talk, to be friends. You know, just because life goes on. Things don't stop for anything.
What have you guys been doing in the 35 years since we last saw you?
I don't know, I've been trying to make a living. You know, I've been doing acting, getting some jobs, doing some directing. I wrote a one-man show when my first wife died, and that got me in a whole one-man solo theater world, so to speak. And I've kind of gotten back into acting now. I've kind of been doing a lot of theater. I raised 4 children, remarried for 21 years to the beautiful and talented Christine Healy. Still live in the same house I lived in when I was doing CHiPs. You know, really trying to just keep developing as a human being.
You know, I'm thrilled to death to be here. I really am. It's like Paul was saying. It's, you know, these guys really kind of nurtured me along the way. I was just so out of my realm when I became an actor. When I got on the show, the first day I saw the set was the first day I ever saw a set, period. And these guys were so good to me, and they knew that, you know, I was very inexperienced, and they helped me along the way. And you know what? We spent day and night together on the set. And for me to come back and see these guys now, and you know, of course I didn't get to see a lot of them, but I did with Paul, I did with Lou, Robert. I didn't get to spend a lot of time with Larry, I did with Eric. And you know what? These guys mean a lot to me, and they've been very, very good to me. So it's nice. And you know, then I look out in the audience and see the fans that come from all over the world. That, you know, that touches me. And you know, I am happy to be a part of this, and I love where the money's going to, the charities, and the people give their time, and these actors give their time. I am thrilled to death.
And it is a real nice thing, and I know it was noted at the top of the program that you're coming out here. It's nice to see you out here after a very challenging year. How has it lifted you up after such a challenging year?
Well, you know, after my son's accident, Paul, Robert Pine, all these guys, Larry Wilcox, they all reached out to myself and my family, and you know, it was so heartfelt for us. And you know, there was a big part of me that did not want to come here. There's a big part of me that, and my wife and my family, that we don't really want to be doing any sort of celebrating of any kind. We feel it's not fair. That's just an emotion that we're dealing with because of Connor's death. And you know, we're reaching out and we're trying to, you know, pull ourselves together, and it's very difficult. But I'm so pleased that we're here and get to spend the time with these guys and these fans that put me and a lot of these other guys on the board. It means a lot to me, and you know, we just have to keep on pushing forward.
I just have to say that this is one classy guy, and I feel very honored to have the opportunity to be with him today, because he's been in my thoughts like on a daily basis, because it's a tough thing.
2 classy guys I got a chance to talk to today, and I really mean that. Thank you for talking to us. I am here with Robert Pine and Lou Wagner, both from CHiPs. Both of you, though, have a unique connection, and your son, to that world-famous Star Trek franchise. You appeared in an episode of Voyager, you were one of the earliest Ferengi, and your son is helming a reboot of the entire franchise. I don't know if you thought about it, but what's it like being part of 2 great franchises? You've got CHiPs and you got the Star Trek franchise.
Well, for me, Chips will always be first. The guys were great and are great, and the stories are super, and it was just, you know, one of the greatest shows that I could have been a part of, really. So.
Well, yeah, I've never thought of it as being part of two franchises. I did actually 2 episodes of Star Trek. I did one, the last iteration on television, and then I did the earlier one. I get them all. And as far as my son, I couldn't be more thrilled that he's having success during that. He tells me the new one, which is coming out next May, I believe, is absolutely super, that I think all the fans will really enjoy it. So no, I'm glad to be, as I know Lou would say the same thing, I'm glad to be associated with anything that's a success, even the non-successes if they pay me.
And what are you guys doing today? What project can we see you in?
I'm on a show called Raising Hope, and I play the family lawyer. It's a funny show.
I heard that.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see it.
It's television.
Yeah.
I am actually at the moment doing a play called Lady Patriot, which is at the Hudson Theater through October 14th, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Written by Ted Lange, who you may remember from Love Boat. Isaac, very good. Yeah. And we're having a lot of fun doing that. And I think I have an episode of Private Practice coming up that will be on. And, you know, I keep busy.
What does it mean to you guys to come out here and see? With the Star Trek franchise, it's built in. You have a convention, and the lines will be wrapped around the. What does it mean to you to come out to this particular event and find that so many people are still touched by the show, in love with the show 35 years after it first premiered on NBC?
Well, that's why it touches my heart, because it was great for me, of course. You know, it was my meal ticket and great parts and everything, but to have people care, and some people changed their lives because of our show, you know. Some people found a career, and it's very touching, very touching.
No, it's very gratifying. I think to any actor who finds people who appreciate what they do, and our show, which, you know, we were all a lot younger then, and it was a big thing in our lives then. That for a lot of us, our first really big success, and to find people who shared the joy of that and whatever, it's extremely gratifying, to be sure.
You know, one piece of trivia that I read somewhere, and you can confirm if it's true or not, when you first got the part, you didn't realize, or maybe you found out later, that it was a motorcycle sergeant. Do you ride motorcycles, or did you have an aversion to those two-wheel beasts?
I know somewhere on the internet it says that I asked them never to put me on a bike. That's not true. I knew it was a motorcycle sergeant. No, I hadn't ridden a bike up until that moment, and but was very willing to learn. And however, I was never very good at it. They would take me out on the bike maybe every 3 shows, and you know, riding into a shot is pretty easy. It was leaving the shot that they would have clear a wide swath for me to go through, because usually as I went off camera, the bike could just go blop. So no, I enjoyed it, knew what I was getting into. So yeah.
Well, I think there was one episode where you just actually crashed one. I think there was one. They let you just simply lay it down.
Well, they never let me lay it down. They never let any of us guys lay it down. Our stuntmen, who were absolutely top-notch, they did the laying down bit. It's interesting, though, because that was the first episode, I think, of the 3rd or 4th season. And I think I'd gone in to ask for a raise. And and I tipped over in the bike, and you next see me in the hospital. Now, it could have gone either way. And I went to our producer, I said, "Are you trying to tell me something with this episode?" Anyway, it worked out, obviously.
Thank you, gentlemen, for taking a few minutes with me. It's good. It's good seeing the people I've seen on television. And somebody over there asked me, "Are you old enough to have seen that?" I've seen it, 42. Although I don't want anybody to know that, but
my daughter's almost 40, and she was 5 when it started. So you qualify as an original viewer.
In this business, longevity is great.
Absolutely.
And on that note, thank you. Unfortunately, we were unable to get time with Brody Greer. Brody was pressed for time, and believe me, if we interrupted the fans' autograph session, a riot would have ensued. We would have loved to have gotten some time with him, but it just wasn't possible this time around. As a make good, here's our earlier interview with series star Larry Wilcox. Now we're going to spend some quality time with series star Larry Wilcox. Larry played the role of CHP officer John Baker in 5 out of 6 seasons of the show. John Baker was the straight man to his more gregarious partner Frank Poncherello. Baker's most distinctive hallmarks were his blonde baton and his rodeo-style gloves, which pointed to the character's Montana upbringing. Larry Wilcox, the actor, departed the series after season 5 when talks between him and the producers stalled. This was the most significant cast change in the series' history. Season 6, which would mark its last, would be led by Eric Estrada and a host of newer faces. Now that we've got Larry all to ourselves, at least for the moment, we'll talk about that and all of his thoughts on being here today. This is Chin THAMMASAENGSRI of Newswire L.A., and I'm here at the Airport Hilton in Los Angeles at the CHiPs 35-year cast anniversary. I had to practice that a couple of times because I totally messed that up. And I'm standing here with series star Larry Wilcox. How you doing this morning?
I'm great. Thank you very much.
You have a very nice turnout starting here, and it's still early in the morning. I've seen a number of your castmates come in. And how does that feel, seeing everybody after all these years?
It feels great. I mean, you know, first of all, to go through that experience and starring in a television series when television was a big deal. There were only 3 networks, so Nielsen ratings were in the 20s. And that was an exciting time. You just don't have that kind of exposure. And have a franchise like CHiPs that was sold to 100 foreign countries in syndication was, you know, really exciting. And yet to come back after all these years and see these cast members, you know, who have gone through all different things in their lives, it's an exciting time. Both personally, it's exciting, and of course, it's wonderful that we're doing this for charity.
Talk to me a little bit about what it's like doing series television. It can be very grueling. Every week you're getting a new script, there's a new show to be shot. You were doing, at that time, probably 24 episodes in a season. Talk to me about how grueling that is, but yet how satisfying it can be with a series like CHiPs.
Well, it's really hard. I mean, with an action series where you're shooting some exteriors outside and then some interiors, you know, usually the days start at 6 a.m. and end at 10 p.m. So that's a long day, you know, 12 to 16 hours usually, or an average day. In those days, we'd shoot 7 to 10 pages a day, and that's unheard of. That's a lot of shooting. We'd use multiple cameras, a lot of stunts. And, you know, as an indulgent young man, it's a great time. You get to have a lot of fun. You make good money. You get to go to all the carnival rides and enjoy them if you're so inclined. And so I'm really grateful. I think it was a good experience. It was a good brand. It was a positive brand. In those days, you know, CHP was, you know, good to be associated with. Police, I always have a special place in my heart for policemen because my military experience in Vietnam, so I'm quasi-military in terms of police. And so here we are doing this for the 1199 Foundation, raising money for policemen killed in the line of duty, and of course, kids at risk with the Optimist Boys School.
I remember a story that I read a long time ago, and you tell me if it was true or not, when your co-star, Eric Estrada, was tragically injured during one of those days. I understand you were one of those people who rode with him to the hospital and even helped stabilize him. Is that true?
Yeah, probably to a lesser extent. I mean, Eric had a really bad accident, and they were giving him his last rites. When I came out of my motorhome, he was lying on the ground, and I did some first aid that you do from Vietnam, treat for shock, which I just did the other day when a lady had an epileptic seizure. Exact same thing in a basketball game with my son. And she fell and hit her head. And in this case, in Eric's case, he was, punctured his lung and had ruptured his heart. And so, first thing is treat for shock and make sure that they're maintaining their breathing and grab the hand to try to reduce any kind of trauma and make sure that his breathing was correct. And you could see in his eyes, it's an awful statement to make, but death was arriving. And so we took him into the ambulance and took him to the hospital. And luckily he survived and he's healthy today, and God bless him.
You were with the series nearly its entire run, but you walked away from that series. Talk to me about the trials and tribulations going on in your mind about that.
Well, yeah, it was a hard decision because I think that you have a false belief that you'll have longevity in the film business. There's no such thing. It's an ephemeral lifespan. So I made a choice to become a producer, director, and a businessman and moved on in my life. And I think it was a good timing and a good choice. But it was a great time to be on CHiPs, and I'm forever grateful, very grateful to everyone. And thank you so much.
And you've got to run off to another interview, and we thank you for interviewing with us. We'll see you throughout the day.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
And that's it for this broadcast of Newswire L.A. coming to you from the CHiPs 35-year cast reunion. We had a blast hanging out with the cast, crew, and fans of the series CHiPs. We thank everyone who made this day possible and for allowing us to come and cover the event as well. Special thanks go to Sue Walsh and Larry Wilcox. I'm your host, Chin THAMMASAENGSRI. And remember, for everything Newswire L.A., follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Newswire L.A. We'll see you back here next time, and good night.
Thank you.